It's time now for Anderson Speedway's Track Talk. Catch up with everything that's going on at Anderson Speedway with Rick Dawson and Gary Mong.
Now here they are.
Yeah, we are.
Live from the Mounds Mall
New
studio.
opening.
Yeah. Rick Dawson, Gary Mong, live again from the Mounds Mall Special Events Studio.
We weren't sure when that was going to end since we were so used to the other one, so.
He surprised us.
He did.
Wade's just
like that.
Master of surprise.
He is.
Welcome to Anderson Speedway's Track Talk. I know some of you folks listen to this show later on in the week, but it feels like winter out. It's below 70, so it's
I got
cold.
a jacket on.
65 degrees. It's going to be back in the 80s, dry. We're going to have another great night of racing at Anderson Speedway. We got the fastest cars on asphalt coming to the track this Saturday night. You don't want to miss the must-see racing wing sprint cars. We'll talk about that coming up in the show. Yeah, but several things to talk about tonight.
But we had a great show Saturday night.
You want to start with last Saturday night?
Oh, my gosh. My favorite show of the year, as always, the 65th running of the National Crown.
Great crowd on hand.
Yeah. You were selling tickets for how long, did you say?
I was up there myself for an hour and a half. It's okay.
Yes, that's right.
Everybody, I think, had a good time. The car count wasn't what I wanted or what was promised, but this Figure 8 racing, folks, now is very difficult. The number of drivers that we have in that want to race Figure 8 now is dwindled dramatically over the years. We fortunately still have some that's their passion and do it.
And boy, did they show it Saturday night.
We still had a great National Crown. I think we had 15. We had 14. 15 showed up. I think 14 raced, which put on a great show. Too good of a show a couple of times in the race, and we've seen some incidents that we hate seeing in the race.
In the crossover,
some property destroyed. Fortunately, everyone is okay. I'm sure still Danny Turner and Curtis are a little sore because what I understand they took one heck of a whop
impact
in the crossover. I didn't see it. I was in the pits. Ed Faust, our race director, was out for the evening with some family festivities, and Kenny was back in the towers, so that put me back in the pits to kind of help things along during the races, and so I didn't get to see it, but what I understand, I heard it, and it sounded like it was a tremendous impact.
It was, but like you said, both drivers come out of it a little bit sore, but they're going to be okay, but it shows you, especially if you look at Curtis's car, the frame of that car, I mean, it took a hit, but it protected him. It protected him. He was in good shape.
We had fast qualifier of the night was the 5-car Ben Tunney.
Yes.
Michael Hadley Jr., who is the WFS points leader, was second fast. R.J. Norton was back third quick. Jeff Shackelford, last year's National Crown winner. Mike Reynolds was the top 5 qualifying. And then in the feature, 100 laps, and from what I understand, Ben Tunney and Michael Hadley put on one heck of a show there towards the end.
They did. They were battling, actually, I think with about 3 laps to go in that, Rick. Mike Hadley tried to make a move on him to go on the inside of him. They got side by side, and we thought, man, this is going to come down to the wire, and it did. But Ben prevailed, and he ended up being victorious in the National Crown.
65 times we've run that race.
Yes.
Longest continuously run stock car race in the country, the National Crown. So next year will be the 66th running.
Yeah, with those two battling, you had a great battle for third place between Jeff Shackelford, R.J. Norton Jr., and Mike Riddle. Yeah, those three were having their own battle, or a battle of their own there. So they were all over the place and having to watch the traffic in the crossover, and it was a good race.
Chris Green had a good finish in 6th. Sean Cullen in 7th, and our own Bruce McFall finished 8th.
He did.
So it was good to see Brucey have a good top 10 finish. We also had the Vors Compact Touring Series there,
great field.
What a great group! I've talked and bragged about them on and on, but they brought us a great field of I think 22 cars.
Yeah.
And what I understand, they put on a heck of a race. We had fast qualifier Larry Hughes in the 38th car.
He's raced with us before, I think, in our own Pro Compact Series.
Gary Eaton won the first heat race, and Aaron Teagarden won the second one. And in the feature, you're going to have to tell me about it because I didn't get to see it.
It was, and you're going to have to forgive me for who won it because
Jerry
I know
Eaton in the 18
the 18 car. But he and whoever got second, I can't remember the number. They put on a great battle till about the last
7 car, Ron Masters.
Yeah, till about the last 3 or 4 laps, and then the 18 was able to get away from him. But up until that point, they was putting on a great show.
Third place, a gentleman with a historic last name in racing, Tommy Bigelow, finished in third. Larry Hughes Jr. finished fourth, and our own Ron Phipps finished in fifth place. Donnie Bigelow, another Bigelow there, finished in seventh place. I seen Tom; he was there. Always great to see him at the track.
Great
He's
guy.
always got a smile and always puts a smile on your face. Has he ever got some stories? If you ever get a chance to just stand and talk with Tom Bigelow, do it.
He's done everything that there probably can be done probably in racing.
We had front-wheel drive figure eights on hand also, and that was kind of a repeat performance.
It is.
One more time.
Nick is on a roll this year. There was a gentleman out of Louisville that came up and ran with us.
Derek Bradshaw.
First time he's ever at the track. Got to talk to him briefly there after he won the heat race, and he just raved about the track. He said, "This is a blast." But something happened to his car because he was leading the feature, and then all of a sudden he just slowed down and just drove off the exit ramp there. And I think he would have gave Nick a run for his money.
Our top two in points had a little extracurricular activity after the race out on the track, I understand, and then a little bit back in the pits afterward, and so they were disqualified for the event and possibly have some further sanctions. But the one thing we do not tolerate, and we're going to get into this a little later in the show, is when the caution flag's out, it's not racing anymore. You're in line and you don't do anything to put somebody in jeopardy.
That's right.
And they were beating and banging, I guess, after the checker flag. So we will take action on that. Not sure what yet, but we're going to make sure it don't happen again.
Right.
We also had the Thunder Roasters on tap.
And those guys are still as racy as they've ever been. I think we had 8 or 9 of them there Saturday night. And I think it was a sweep for Doug Duggar, if I'm not mistaken. I think he won his heat race and won the featured as well.
I think you're incorrect.
Oh, I am?
Doug Duggar was second fast qualifier. John Robbins won the heat race, and Doug Duggar won his first feature of the year.
Oh, that's right. John did win the heat race. I'm sorry. You're right. You are correct.
Penalty box for Gary Mullins.
Yes, put me in the penalty
Congratulations on Doug on his first win. I understand he is also now the official INEX Legends and Thunder Roaster dealer for the area, and
good.
He already has approached me, and sometime the next week or so we're going to be getting together on a big program for next year.
Good deal.
So
the Legends need that around here.
Yep. This Saturday night we have the must-see racing wing sprints, and with the track only going to be about in the 80s, and the track being a little cool, we may just see a new world's record.
10.144. Is that what the record is right now? Something like that? Yeah.
Yeah. That's Saturday night, along with the Thunder Cars are going to be back on hand, and we will also have something. Oh, yeah, the front-wheel drive ovals are back.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
We're taking a break from figure 8 racing this week.
Yeah. I could do a whole show on the front-wheel drive divisions this year, but I won't. But I got to be honest, I have not enjoyed them, and I don't get it. I mean, it's like blood to these guys. I mean, it's not about having fun and racing. I mean, and I got to be careful saying that because I don't want to stereotype every single driver, but there are several in this group that Kenny and I are just banging our heads. What does it take to get their attention? I don't know if it's setting them out or what, but they just don't have any respect for each other. And the fans are seeing this, and I'm hearing it from the fans, telling me to get them under control. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're trying to do. I don't want to eliminate anybody from racing, but when somebody does it and it takes the fun away from the other competitors and the fans, then you got to do something about it. And some of these guys, it's every week there's something.
And it's bad. A week ago when we had them there, and we had 3 red flags in a heat race with them.
Yeah. on the very first one.
Yes. So that tells
And it wasn't
right
for
there.
accident.
No.
It was just to line up. We will do it. I mean, these guys, it's an entry-level division, and I recognize that, but some of these guys have been racing that division way longer
years.
than entry-level. So, it's time to learn and, moving them up, or, forcing them to move up, which was kind of our policy a few years ago, may be the answer. But we're gonna get. I mean, still, when they race and they're racers,
they put on a good show.
On heck of a show. So hopefully we'll get them under control. We're working on it. I listened to suggestions. After last week's show, I was pretty critical about a couple of our competitors, and I did hear from some of our fans out there that listen to the radio show, and one in particular who I do have a lot of respect for, emailed me, and he was pretty negative, towards me and the racetrack and what had happened. But once it's impossible to give you folks all of the information that we are privy to, behind the scenes. We try not to emphasize the bad things, or if a driver's in trouble or something,
Right.
So I try very careful, unless it's really bad, to not use names. I don't want to make it any worse than it already is, because our goal is to make it better.
That's exactly
and we
right.
don't want to excommunicate anybody and have that hang on their record forever. Sometimes it's just inevitable, but safety is the number one concern at Anderson Speedway,
Yes.
and that's why we do a lot of things. A lot of people don't understand why, when you're just seeing it happen on the race.
And even some of the drivers get upset with us that we go to that extreme, but we do it for their protection.
Yeah, some of And we're going to get into this discussion after our break, because I know there may be some folks wanting to know my take on what happened up in New York last weekend, and I do have a little insight that I'd like to impart just to help things along. It's not to be critical at all. It's just part of what we do
And why we do it.
and why we do it at the Speedway,
Yes.
to keep anything bad from happening. We're going to, this would be a good time to step aside and take a quick break. You're listening to Anderson Speedway's Track Talk, and we will be right back.
Hi, I'm Tom Bannon of the Anderson-Madison County Visitors Bureau. Check us out online at visitandersonmadisoncounty.com to get information about local events, to find that perfect venue for your wedding reception, or for great ideas on how to spend a day in Madison County. You can also stay up to date on the entertainment scene by liking us on Facebook, following us on Twitter, or picking up one of our free magazines. Visit AndersonMadisonCounty.com. The fun starts here.
50 years ago, Tom Raper sold his first camper off a dirt lot in Richmond, Indiana. Since then, Tom Raper RVs has grown to be one of the largest RV dealers in America, selling the top brands at the best prices. That's why folks like you come from all over the Midwest to buy their recreational vehicles from Tom Raper RVs. Why, we reckon we've sold over 100,000 campers since we started. That's a lot of campers. That's a lot of fun. Tom Raper RVs in Richmond or online at tomraper.com.
Heart attack, stroke, serious injury. A sudden health crisis can happen to anyone at any time. So when bad things happen, choose good people. St. Vincent Anderson Regional Hospital has the area's most advanced emergency care, with a state-designated Level 3 trauma center, an internationally accredited chest pain center for heart attack patients, and advanced certification for primary stroke care. We have all the resources to deliver the care you need for any serious or life-threatening emergency. St. Vincent Anderson Regional is the only emergency department in the area with an on-site helicopter. And our $27 million state-of-the-art surgery pavilion opens later this year. Bad things can happen to anyone. Thankfully, good people are ready to help. Choose emergency care from St. Vincent Anderson Regional, the spirit of caring. Visit stvincent.org/Anderson Regional to learn more.
Honey, stop! Oh, my my gosh, that's Diggity's back there.
You mean the new Diggity's Frozen Treat Factory?
I heard it's unbelievable. Everybody's talking about it. They have everything yummy.
Yeah, I heard they have ice cream, yogurt, custard, sorbet.
And gelato, plus fruit smoothies, and that's just the beginning.
I heard Diggity's has over 250 toppings, not 30 or 40 like those other places, and you can even get the candy to go separately.
We can eat outside on their huge patio by the fire, too.
Okay, let's see. Frozen yogurt, ice cream, custard, sorbet, and gelato with 250 toppings? Or a plain old frozen yogurt shop with limited toppings?
Diggity's it is!
Diggity's wants to cater your event. Diggity's can set up at your event inside or out and provide delicious smoothies, frozen cappuccinos, candies, and frozen treats to your guests. Diggity's is perfect for weddings, company picnics, group outings, sporting events, festivals, you name it, just call Diggity's. 765-393-0033 today for more information.
MoFab Incorporated, where imagination is the only limitation. We serve residential, commercial, industrial, and municipal customers as your metals warehouse and fabrication center. We do all types of fabrication using the latest technology with unmatched speed, accuracy, and durability on any substrate. Our ornamental division handles all types of interior and exterior work, including rails, fences, gates, and more. So contact us at mofabbing.com to fabricate your dreams of tomorrow today.
This program is a presentation by Anderson Speedway. The content contained in this program is that of the host and guests, and not this station.
Okay, a little BTO to come back into the show.
We're taking care of business.
Rick Dawson, Gary Mong, live from the Mount Small studio. Welcome back to Anderson Speedway's Track Talk. Talking about music from that era.
Yeah.
We, 2 nights ago, Sunday night, went down to Clips Music Center and watched one of the best concerts I've ever seen, REO Speedwagon in Chicago together.
Yes, it was great.
It was just, I know a lot of our listeners, who are they? Them old fogies? Well, they are 2 of the best rock bands, as far as I'm concerned, ever, next to Bon Jovi.
What is his name? Kevin
Cronin.
Cronin, that's the lead singer for REO. I think he's 62, 63.
Oh, my gosh, I wish I had his
20-some
energy.
years old the way he moves around
and
that
then
stage.
They both played separate, and then at the end, they jammed together on some of their big hits, and I mean, it was just
great.
Phenomenal. I mean, put chills up your spine.
It did. It was fantastic.
So we had a great show, a great time at that show. Before we get into our next segment, I think Wade told me we have a caller on the line, and I'd like to hear what they have to say. We haven't done this for a while. Who are we talking to this evening?
Yeah, hi, Rick. It's your old buddy, Aaron.
Oh, hey, Aaron. How you doing, man?
Not too bad. How you doing, Gary?
Doing good.
Good to hear from you.
Yeah, nice. I just wanted to call you. You know, you had 2 big wrecks in the figure 8 race the other night, and I just want to compliment you, Gary, and the whole track crew. I mean, as soon as that happened, they got right on it. The red flag came out, especially in the Chapman and the Turner wreck. I mean, you guys did a sensational job at getting up there to the cars, making sure they was okay. I mean, I just can't compliment you enough. I mean, you guys do a great job every week, but you guys did a great job Saturday night with both those wrecks, and Chapman and the Turner wreck. Out of all the years I've been going to Anderson Speedway, I believe that was the hardest crash I've ever seen there.
Well, I certainly appreciate the good words, and we also want to get our hats off to the Anderson Fire Department, who were right there also, and they're always there. It's good to know they're right there as a backup with their skills. We have obviously very qualified people on hand, but it doesn't hurt to have them as a backup, because I tell you, they're utmost professionals. One of the biggest problems we had Saturday night was with Danny wanting to get out of the car.
Yeah.
I mean, he had been, he'd had, his bell rung a little bit, and you got to be very careful about necks and everything. And I did get a report back from the hospital at St. Vincent's, from the doctors, complimenting us very well about preparing him and getting him ready to transport. And when he arrived, they were ready to go to work on him, said everything was just done perfectly to a T. So our hats off to our staff, EMAS staff, and the Anderson Fire Department. And Aaron, I sure appreciate your kind compliments.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I can't compliment you enough. I mean, I can go on all day. I mean, as soon as that wreck happened in the crossover, bam, the red flag came out, all the cars stopped where they was, and all I seen was yellow shirts running over there to the scene, and I seen Chapman get out, and his car caught fire temporarily.
Yeah.
And he went over there and checked on Mr. Turner, and I'm just so happy nobody got hurt in either wreck. And I know the first wreck, the Jedi Cluxon, I believe that's his name.
Yeah.
He got hit so hard the fuel cell came flying out of his car.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen that before.
I have, but I don't like to see it, and it doesn't happen very often. But, Aaron, thank you for calling in tonight, and I look forward to seeing you come in the gates every Saturday night, and I'll look forward to seeing you again this Saturday, buddy.
Hey, no problem. We'll be there, and like I said, great job. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys. All right,
you.
bye.
Aaron Hensley, good friend of ours from the Speedway, and it's good to hear.
So nice to hear those compliments.
I only see him usually when he comes in. Him and a buddy comes in every Saturday night, and they're there every week. They're not shy about telling me,
It's kind of like I used to be.
Yeah. Aaron, if you're still listening, be careful. I'm liable to put you to work, because look what happened to Gary when he used to do that. But I've had several people ask me, and I'm going to share some thoughts here because I don't want to sensationalize this any more than it is. But what happened out at New York, everybody in racing that's not in a cave knows that there was a tragic incident happened at a dirt track up in New York, and I can't even tell you, it's like Canatoga or something like that. I'd never heard of it. But Tony Stewart was racing that night, and I still can't really tell from the video whether or not they got together or not, to cause the incident. I mean, the assumption is from the angle they probably did, and it caused the other young man to
clip the wall
and spin, and I don't know if he flipped or not.
No, he just kind of spun around.
He spun pretty good, and then he did the unmentionable, which we preach and preach and preach at our track. I mean, it's a cardinal sin, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If you do it at our track, you're done for a while until you get some sense in your head not to do it. But you never, and this includes not only the competitors, but my staff and these sanctioning bodies that bring their officials. If they do it, they're going to face the same tempest, because I don't care about racing at that point. I care about a person's safety. And if that person doesn't care about their own safety, they shouldn't be so selfish not to think about their families and friends that would maybe be without them for doing that.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened Saturday night. Frustration took over with this young man. He was in a black car, a black driver's suit, a very poorly lit racetrack. I mean, at least from the camera angles, and maybe it wasn't, but at least from the cameras that I seen. And unfortunately, he wanted to show his frustration. Almost got hit by two cars,
right.
But the first one was able to see him, was actually out in front of Tony's car, swerved and missed him, and Tony didn't see him. And he, at least until probably the last minute, because he was clipped by the left rear, and the autopsy reports came out tonight. He passed away almost immediately from blunt force trauma.
It was the right rear, wasn't it?
Right rear tire. And I tell you, folks, I mean, my heart, obviously, and the whole Anderson Speedway and racing family's hearts goes out to this young man's family for what they're going through now, because unless you've, and not only them, but the racetrack and their staff, because unfortunately we've been through that, and I've been through that. Yes. And it is something that you pray, if I knew that it was going to happen again and I could prevent it by not having that racetrack, I would, because human life is that important.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we forget that in racing. And what possessed him to do it, it's pretty obvious. I mean, he was mad. He's probably done it before. He wanted to grandstand and think. I mean, I can't imagine what point you think you're going to make out on a racetrack and pointing at another driver. What does that mean? What are you going to accomplish by? What are you going to accomplish by throwing your helmet at a car? I mean, unless you're trying to impress people in the stands or yourself. Maybe you get some gratification. I don't know. I'm not a racer. But there comes a point in time where you have got to come to grips with yourself and think about your safety and everybody else's safety. And now, unfortunately, I tell you, Tony's a friend of mine, and I talked to a very close friend of his last night who has not talked to Tony because, for obvious reasons, he's basically put himself and everyone around him on lockdown. You know, he's not accessible because what he is receiving not only, you know, is the fact that they just report on it and you have to watch that, you know, or see that or hear about it on the radio or on TV, hear about it, and you're sitting here trying to reason with yourself why to even go on.
Right.
And you have to keep seeing that continually. And then you get these I'll call idiots who just want to speculate and editorialize, and just because they may not like Tony or whatever, that, you know, and to think that he would even conceivably, I know Tony Stewart, there is no way on God's green earth that Tony Stewart would intentionally hurt somebody with a race car.
Right.
Never. And what he has to be going through right now, I mean, it could be career changing. I mean, it's definitely career changing, but it's life changing. I mean, it's going to be one of those things that you're never going to be able to get over.
Right.
Our family suffered a terrible tragedy when I was 15 years old. I lost my 13-year-old sister in a car accident. And you wonder why. And, you know, the big guy upstairs has a plan for all of us. You can't reason why things happen. And I'll never get over it for the rest of my life, but you have to learn to deal and cope with it. And you have to think, you know, life does go on. It's not as important to everybody else as it will be to you forever. So you have to rationalize that. But the thing that's got me through, and I've said this time and time again, and it'll help Tony get through this, especially, you know, in the next several weeks, is the fact that racing is a family. I can't describe it. I don't even want to try to figure it out. It's one big family. I've said it time and time again. When you need something or something bad's happened, you have the whole racing community
We've experienced
on your
ourselves.
back. Sure, when things are going good and everything, you fuss and fight and feud just like every family does. But when you need the support in the background, there's no way I could have gotten through, you know, our tragedies at our racetrack without that. There's just no possible way. I also know this, you know, with the two terrible tragedies that we've had at our track, and I'm sure it's the same way with Mr. Ward, that Willie Mefford would not want us to quit racing. He would not want racing to go away because this happened.
Right.
And it will continue, will go on. Sure, you take these incidents, you learn from them, and you try to make sure something like this never happens again.
And we've done that.
But the one thing that we can't do as officials, we can do everything we possibly can, except for we cannot control what that driver does in the cockpit at any given time on the racetrack or out of the cockpit. I am reiterating, we'll do it at our driver's meeting. We usually do it every week, but I tell you, it's going to be emphasized very strongly. You do not ever get out of that race car or unbuckle yourself. That happened during the National Crown. Drivers have been told not to do that. That happened during the National Crown. That driver will be talked to about it. You do not get out of that race car unless that car is on fire or one of our officials is there to help you get out of it, regardless of where you're at on the racetrack. Go ahead.
I was going to say, people have even come to me and says, how's come after a victory you don't allow them to do donuts and burnouts and stuff? Exactly. There's our reason.
Our track is not configured to where it's safe to do it, and I won't let it happen. I have been physically, since I found out about it Sunday morning, I've been physically myself ill because of this, feeling for Tony and that family, and hopefully everybody will get through it well, and we can go on.
Yes.
Sorry about the lengthy editorial, but I hope everybody, that helps everybody understand exactly what's transpired. We've used up our whole half hour already.
We do.
Don't forget the must-see Racing Wing Sprints this Saturday night. Gates open at 5. Qualifying at 6:30, almost as good as the race.
Racing at 8.
We'll race at 8. Thanks for listening to Anderson Speedway Track Talk, and we will see you at the racetrack Saturday night.
Live from the Mounds Mall Special Events Studios, it's Track Talk on News Talk 1240 WHBU, Fox Sports 1340, and 102.9 in Muncie. Now here's Rick and Gary with everything you need to know about Anderson Speedway and Anderson Speedway's Track Talk.
Good evening. Welcome to Track Talk. EQ talent too soon, and I started talking too soon. Welcome to Track Talk. We're not live from the Mounds Mall studio this evening. We're out in the middle of the cornfield.
We missed Wade, didn't we? Had to come out and see him.
We did. We haven't been out here for a while. We haven't been out here for a while. We got some other obligations this evening, so we decided to come out here and do the show. So we had another big weekend.
Oh, my gosh. It was a big Saturday night. A lot of good racing was going on.
It was a fun night at the track. We had a good crowd, good car counts, and CRA Street Stocks put on a great show. I guess they showed the late model guys how it's supposed to be done, huh?
They had a few spins and stuff like it, nothing major, but it was some good, hard racing. Really good.
There didn't seem to be anything major up front this time. It was at the back of the field where we had the issues this week. I actually got to watch most of the race.
You're getting to do that a little bit more often.
I am. I really like this new configuration at the track, and I'm sure the guys in the pits like it too.
I talked to Ed after the race Saturday night, and he said he's getting a little bit more comfortable in his role now, so I think it's all falling into place.
Ed Faust, our safety director and now race director at the Speedway, doing a really good job, and I'm really comfortable with Ed in the tower, you in the flag stand, Kitty in the pits. It makes it a lot easier for me. I guess I'm a little selfish.
Are you getting bored now? Or
no.
You get to enjoy your place.
I get to enjoy it, and I get to talk to the people now a little bit.
That's good. So, good deal.
But we had the CRA Street Stocks in town. This is their first race since the 200-lap race, which was a great race, last month.
That 20-plus cars, that was a good turnout.
We did. And the normal car, seems like that's the way to put it this year, set fast time, Josh Poor in the 27 car, Jimmy Kirby, who's leading the or Jimmy Kirby the third, I guess.
James.
That's
James. Kirby, yes.
He qualified in front of his dad, who was third fast qualifier, and his dad, Jimmy Kirby's leading the CRA points going into the night.
I had to go back and tease Jimmy Kirby that the youngster got ahead of him as far as qualifying goes.